This is a picture of a 1920s something white truck. This is the picture I saw on auction time, and I decided I would bid on it, and I won the auction. And the following video is going to be showing some of the scenery when I went to pick it up, and when I got it home, and when I start to work on it. So I hope you enjoy the video. I had to pull all the way off the pavement to let these two wide loads go by. This is just a little panoramic view of some of the scenery, because I took 2-lane roads almost all the way there and back because I didn't want to go near any scales, because I was certain I was overweight with the truck. The trailer, I think the weight was legal, but certainly not the pickup truck. Just another view, and that's the Missouri River in the distance that I'm going to have to cross. So it's downhill to it and uphill away from it. This is just a shot of the scenery as I'm waiting to get through a construction area. We're waiting for a lead vehicle to come and lead us through. And it was just a load of empty beehives and me following the pilot car. And here you'll see the road construction taking place. So, I mean, this is out in the middle of absolute nowhere. No cell phone reception at all.
Well, here it is, ready for a long ride home. I think it's a pretty amazing truck.
These are just some shots of the scenery as I'm heading north out of Nebraska back up towards 18 in South Dakota. So I just got a few shots of how barren it is out there. This is a shot of an abandoned church up on the hill. I thought it was quite picturesque. There are other people taking pictures also.
Too bad it's raining out. I saw this on the way to go pick up my white truck, and this is one thing I said I'd stop on the way back to take a look at. And see, it's even on half tracks. It's really an interesting piece. I don't know if I can figure out what make it is. It is a Chevy, but it sure looks a lot like my International 6-speed special without the cab. Something white truck. I got home from Chadron, Nebraska with it yesterday. This is a 1920s white truck. It came from oil fields. It had gin poles on the back at one time, and the winch was for pulling oil pipe, I guess. It was considerably heavier load than I had expected, but I got home safely with it. It's a pretty nice piece, I think. It has a huge winch on it, which is powered by a silent chain drive, and the PTO for that is on auxiliary transmission, and it sits on top of the auxiliary transmission. The PTO is underneath the seat, actually. So it has main transmission, the auxiliary transmission, and back here, this is actually the service brake operated with the foot pedals. It has 2 shoes on each side of 2 drums. With the hood open, you can see how massive the 4-cylinder engine is. You can see the oil pan underneath, the big electric starter hanging on it. And then if you look again from this side, the main transmission is there, the auxiliary transmission, you can see the bottom of it hanging out there, and you can see the brake unit behind that. So the drivetrain is absolutely massive and very heavy. one of the first things I want to do is get front tires on it so it's easier to move it around. The engine has compression, so it shouldn't be a real big issue to get it running, and I'll do videos on the progress I make with it. You can see all the levers. There's the parking brake lever, and then there's a lever to engage the winch. There's a lever to control the brake on the winch, the main gear shift lever, auxiliary transmission gear shift lever, and a lever to engage the PTO. Well, I'm going to start working on the tires just so it's easier to roll before I start working on trying to get it run. And this tire actually is plenty good to use, but the bead ring or lock ring, whatever you want to call it, wasn't on it. It was in the truck, and I tried putting it on, airing it up, but the inner tube wouldn't hold air, so I'm going to have to take it, dismount it, and check the tube. And don't worry, when I try airing them up, I have chains through the holes in the rim and around the tire so the lock ring can't fly off and kill me. I'm going to want to show you just how easy the lug nuts come off. I tried one, so I already know. And as on a lot of old vehicles, the lug nuts on the left side are left-hand thread. I mean, I'm going to show you how easily they come loose, but I will use the impact to take them off. I guess I'm getting old. That's just how easy they come loose. I'm sure I didn't expect them to come loose that easily. So I'm going to take them off. Well, that isn't what most people would expect on an old truck. Now, if you see, judging from grease on this stuff, it looks like they maintain the truck pretty well. Because there's grease on everything, kingpins, tie rod ends. Here's an interesting thing. The wheel hub has a grease fitting on it. So you can add grease to them without taking them off and repacking them. So it looks like it was maintained pretty good. If you notice here, that's the front fender brace going to the top. This is the rear fender brace. But what I really want to show you is the interesting thing here. The fenders don't have holes in them bolting them to the frame. They have a bead rolled on the edge of the fender, and there's a clamp that clamps the fender to the frame. So I don't know what their purpose of mounting it like that instead of having it flanged with a hole. Now we'll see how bad the bead is rusted to the rim. I don't think this one's going to be bad at all. It seems to be coming off loose real easy as far as truck tires go. They are dry. drop right off. I wish they all did that. But when it comes to other ones that are rested on tight, you'll be seeing a press I have that my old neighbor made. So I'm gonna finish getting this apart and check the tube. Well, I'm airing it up, and right here appears to be the culprit. So let's get a little patch on there, and it should be good to go. Some of you may have noticed this when I was telling you how well it was greased. I just saw it now. They had oversized tires or whatever, but from turning, it rubbed the steering arm, I forget what you call that, drag link or whatever you call it, so much it actually has a hole worn way through it. So that's something I will be patching up on it. Well, see, this tire that I said was usable is an 8 1/4 20. One on the other side is too, but that one is junk. And if you look at the rims, I don't know if you can see it, or this rim, there's a tag and it says 750/20. It wouldn't make too much difference. But I don't have another 8 1/4 20 for the other side. But I do have two 750/20s. I mean, they aren't matched, but all they are is to hold it up and move it around, you know. So I'm going to put 750/20s on it, so I have two of them that are the same height. And one thing, when you're mounting these, always make sure there's no scaly rust in here, and always make sure the same here, so that locks into there fully and doesn't have. There's always a chance of these things coming apart, but you want to reduce those chances as much as possible. So, well, I have the tube and the flap in the tire, and now I'm going to mount it on the rim. Never ever, I don't have a cage, so I always put chains around it, but never ever pump one of these up without some kind of safety features in place.